I'll be naming one player from every club who has underperformed this season in the Premier League. As the Premier League season is nearing an end and we're getting to the transfer window now, all the rumours are starting to come in. And to keep up to date with all the rumours and all the players linked to your club, you need to download OneFootball. On the OneFootball app here, there's a whole page dedicated to transfers and the latest rumours surrounding the Premier League. We can see here that Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot is linked to Manchester City. I also linked him to Everton recently. You also got RB Leipzig striker Hwang Hee-chan linked to West Ham and Crystal Palace. And there's so much more on the OneFootball app to look at. You can swipe to the right here in the Premier League and see all the stats from all the players. So as we're entering an exciting part of the football season, it's the perfect time to download OneFootball on your phone. All you need to do is click the link in the description. So in alphabetical order, we start off with Arsenal, and the player I chose for them is Nicolas Pepe. This season in the Premier League, 5 goals and 1 assist, and he's done better in the Europa League with 6 goals and 4 assists there. Arsenal signed him for £72 million, and he's not really worth that, but that's not his fault. That's just down to what Arsenal spent on him. And even though he might not be worth that price tag, he's still got the ability to do a lot better. Arsenal really need some players to step up their performances, and I think Nicolas Pepe can be a player to do that. So I think the time has really come now for him to start performing better, and I expect to see more from him next season. At Aston Villa, I've gone with Ross Barkley. He was brought in as a loan signing from Chelsea. When he came into the team, it was seen as a good signing for Villa, and when the season started, he started performing fairly well and looked like a good signing. However, in the second half of the season, his form has really slipped. When you see him on the pitch, he looks a bit demotivated and lost at times, and when Villa have needed someone to step up their performances and really needing it to be Ross Barkley, he hasn't done that. Barkley shouldn't only be performing well when Jack Grealish is in the side, he should be the one that's filling his absence. So for those reasons, I think he has to go down as the underperforming player. At Brighton, I've gone with Neil Maupay, and he's not doing really bad. He's doing okay, but we just know he can do a lot better. His expected goals in the Premier League is 12.8, and he's only been able to score 8. And even then, 3 of the 8 goals that he has scored this season have been penalties. Why we really expect him to be playing better is because of the team that he's playing in. With the chances he's getting at Brighton, he should be finding the back of the net more. A more clinical striker can completely transform Brighton, so if any player needs to step up in this team, it's Maupay. It might be that another striker comes in this summer, which should make Maupay step up his game. At Burnley, I've gone with another striker in Ashley Barnes. It's seen season upon season his goal tally is decreasing this season with just 3 Premier League goals. We know that Burnley are a more defensive team and they need to take their chances when they get them. Barnes has a conversion rate of 8.6%, so this is disappointing for the team. With another player who can finish some chances off better than Barnes, it could really help Burnley. It might be time for them to move on from Barnes because, as I say, his goal tally seems to be going down with each season. With Chelsea, now I had to pick Werner for this as it's what everyone thinks. We expected so much when he joined. Why he's really underachieving is because of the amount of goals he's scoring. What we expected from him was a striker to hit a number of goals in the high teens, maybe getting into the 20s. He hasn't been that and instead has given Chelsea a mix of goals and creative qualities. What stands out throughout the season is the amount of easy chances that he's missed, which is really the main reason why he's my choice. 17 big chances missed is the 3rd most with Vardy and Bamford above him, and that is where he should be doing better. That's what we expected to see. When you say, however, that he does have 12 goals and 13 assists in all competitions, that isn't too bad. It's purely just the goal tally, so maybe next season, starting with a fresh mindset, he'll be a little different. Under Thomas Tuchel, he is starting as the striker. Possibly another striker is joining the club, but I'm sure Werner will still be a big part of the team next season. Coming up on the channel, I'll be analysing many Premier League teams and how they can improve next season. Let me know what teams you want me to look at and then click the subscribe button to make sure that you see it. I would love to push for 10,000 subscribers, so please, if you could help me get to that, that would be very much appreciated. For Crystal Palace, I've gone with BATSHUAYI. He was signed as another player to help Palace score more goals, but it just hasn't really happened with 2 goals for him this season. To be fair, he hasn't been a main part of the first team, which I didn't really expect anyway. He was a signing to help here and there when he did get minutes, but he just hasn't contributed that much. He's still on loan from Chelsea, and overall in the Premier League, he's never really kicked into form scoring a lot of goals. For a striker that scored 17 goals for Marseille in the 15-16 season, he hasn't lived up to expectations in England. A disappointing signing for Crystal Palace, and maybe his next move is outside of England. My choice for Everton is Alex Iwobi. They signed Iwobi when they failed to bring in Wilfried Zaha in 2019. In just over 3,000 minutes of Premier League football for Everton over his 2 seasons at the club, he's been able to score 2 goals and get 2 assists in that time. A really poor return and a difficult one for Everton Everton. It means they still need a right winger, which is something that I discussed in a recent video purely based on how Everton can improve, and I think it's really why they need to, because IWOBI just hasn't been performing. I can't imagine that there's too much that Carlo Ancelotti has seen to keep him in the side either. For the money that they spent on him, there hasn't been enough seen on the pitch. For Fulham, I've gone with RUBEN LOFTUS-CHEEK, another signing for a club near the bottom of the league, and a player who hasn't had great output in attack. He's scored 1 Premier League goal, has had 0.8 key passes per 90, so not much in terms of creating chances either. Maybe he's been more influential in defence. Not exactly, 1.14 tackles won per 90 and 0.3 interceptions. So for someone that has played 1,900 minutes of Premier League football, it's poor. Fulham's signings have overall been impressive, but Loftus-Cheek is definitely a disappointing one. It was a chance for him to kick on and at least score a few goals, be a chance creator, or make a defensive influence. For Leeds United, I've gone with Rodrigo. I always felt this was an odd transfer for £27 million, your record club signing. A player who is now 30 off the back of seasons in Spain where he hadn't exactly been a prolific goal scorer. He's played more of a second striker role instead of the lone striker where Patrick Bamford has been playing. He scored 16 goals in the league in 2017-18, so you can tell from that he's underperforming. 3 goals this season for Leeds in a team that is attacking minded. I feel that he should have got more than this. Leicester City was a difficult one. There isn't really anyone that stands out there, but I went with AYOZE PEREZ, eventually choosing him due to how he's performed in the Premier League previously. Last season was the perfect example of the type of season you expect from him, with 8 goals and 4 assists. That was his debut season at Leicester City, where he played just over 2,000 minutes. This season, 1,100 minutes, but really because you've seen Barnes in the side more, and the fact they've been playing with a back 3. In that formation, you have the wing backs, and it becomes harder for him to get into the side. With just 2 goals this season, he has to be their most underperforming player. At Liverpool, I went with Sadio Mane, a contrasting season for Liverpool and Sadio Mane in particular. After scoring 18 and assisting 9 last season, he scored 8 and assisted 5 this season. We know he's a very good player, but he just hasn't been playing at the level that we know he can. He's still been having a lot of shots with 84 taken this season, but his conversion rate of 9.5% has let him down. Compared to what it was previously, 23.4%, a huge difference there. He just hasn't been as clinical. It's difficult to find an underperforming player at Man City, but I went with Gabriel Jesus. For the amount of chances the City team create, I feel he should do a little better in front of goal. Of course, with the most chances created in the league, you feel that the striker in the team should be scoring more than 8 goals. Thankfully for them, they are filled with a lot of great players who all chip in with goals. Their top goal scorer this season is Gundogan with 12, then Mahrez and Sterling with 9, followed by Gabriel Jesus on 8, so no one has really scored a lot of goals for them. However, maybe Jesus should be that player. For Manchester United, it's definitely Anthony Martial. He hasn't been playing to the level that we saw last season. In 2019-20, it seemed like he'd learned a lot from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and how exactly to score the easier striker type of goals. Ole and the coaching staff had been getting him to stay in the box close to goal, which got him the 17 Premier League goals last season. Just the 4 this season, however, so where has that quality gone? I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sees him as a player he wants in the team. His inconsistencies always seem to be there, but they've been much more evident this season with the amount he scored and chances he's missed. Newcastle United, I've gone with Ryan Fraser. Yes, he was a free transfer, but he also signed a contract until 2025. This was meant to be a big signing for Newcastle United to add some much needed creativity and attacking quality to the team. A player to score a few goals and assist and maybe bring that connection with Callum Wilson to the Newcastle team. Well, that hasn't happened with just the 2 assists for him. He's made the most accurate crosses for Newcastle this season, which is maybe a little surprising with just the 925 minutes played, so you could say that other players need to help by scoring the chances that Ryan Fraser is creating, but either way, I think I do expect a little more from Ryan Fraser in this team. For Sheffield United, this one speaks for itself. RHIAN Brewster, £23 million for Sheffield United, their record transfer, a lot of money spent for them and no goals from the player. Now, he hasn't exactly been a starter in the team 12 times in the Premier League this season. With just over 1,000 minutes played, he has had 21 shots and just the 7 on target, and an average distance of 19.8 yards away from goal when shooting, which is a lot higher than other strikers. Maybe the right chances haven't fell for him. I do hope for Brewster that he can kick on at Sheffield United next season in the Championship, where Southampton have signed some great players in the past, Mane being a fantastic winger that they signed. He did great things at the club, and I thought that Moussa Djenepo would be fairly similar. However, whenever I see him on the pitch, he always seems desperate to score and being a bit selfish at times. I usually look at the reaction from strikers or other players around him, and you can see the frustration from them when he shoots instead of passing. I think his 2 shots on target from 13 taken says it all really, but he has had 1 goal. The creativity side of things hasn't really been there either, 5 key passes for him, and I think that this all really comes down to poor decision making from him. For Tottenham, I struggled on this one for a little while. I debated on Lo Celso, but in the end I went with Steven Bergwijn. No goals for him this season, he's had 3 assists, and I don't think the football under Jose Mourinho really suited him. He needs more attacking football to have the ball more often and more chances to get used to the Premier League. For him, there was a lack of chances and touches in dangerous positions under Mourinho, and he wasn't being able to show his full ability. So under a different manager, we might see more from him. We know how well he did for PSV, but we also know there's a difference between the two leagues. I do hope he can kick into form, as he is an entertaining player with so much more to show. For West Brom, I went with KARLAN, who has just one goal this season after a £15 million transfer. The football under Allardyce of course doesn't suit Grant, and that's why he doesn't play now. Under Bilic, however, he still wasn't making an impact. A fast player who did well in the Championship but can't get into goal scoring form in the Premier League. For the money spent on him, West Brom will surely want to see more from Grant, and maybe next season they will in the Championship. At West Ham, I was really excited for the arrival of Said Benrahma to the Premier League, but he hasn't been a main part of the West Ham team, and it's understandable. The team has been very good, so it's hard to get a starting place. What I've seen in him at West Ham, and what Moyes has also said recently, is his decision making is what is letting him down. A moment I remember recently was West Ham needing a goal near the end of the match, players getting into the box, and then Benrahma shoots from outside the box, which was never really going to go in. David Moyes said about his decision making in a recent interview, and once he understands this a bit more and refines his game, then Said Benrahma could really make an impact at West Ham. Last season we saw a different side to Adama Traore, getting some goal contributions, but again we've gone back to a more disappointing Traore, which could really be down to the lack of Raul Jimenez or a prolific goal scorer in the team. Traore is a hard one though, because of his pace and dribbling ability being so good. We expect him to take advantage of that and have a load of assists as he gets into dangerous positions by just running into that space. We know it's not as easy as that, but last season he showed us he can do it. I really hope we can see a dominating season from Traore soon, as it would be great to watch. Comment your most underperforming player in the Premier League. I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.